I never imagined that I would discover a fatal shooting, but that is exactly what happened. Hi, welcome to Janine-E-ology. My name is Janine. A distant cousin of mine reached out to me and she asked me if I knew the story or the incident that had transpired between my great-grandfather and second great-grandfather. My great-grandfather was mainly Coleman E., who was 17 years old. His father was Christopher Columbus E., and he was 55 years old. They lived in Bulls Gap, Tennessee. The year was 1894, and the event occurred on August 1st. There are multiple newspaper articles about this incident, and they give a slightly different account of what occurred. The account from the distant cousin was also different. She reported Christopher had gold that he had buried somewhere on the family farm. And it seems that Manley may have dug up this gold and hidden it somewhere else. This angered Christopher, and he turned upon his son and shot him in the leg. Manley returned fire and shot his father in the chest 3 times. Now, in those articles, none of them mention anything about gold. So let me start with the first article that I found. It will be right here. It says Christopher was drinking and angered over the election, and a gentleman by the name of William Ivy refused to vote for the Republican ticket. Christopher threatened to shoot Mr. Ivy. Manley intervened, and Christopher shot him in the leg. Manley returned fire. This other article I found also states that the argument was about the election, but this time Christopher and Manley were the ones in the argument because they had different political views. It also states that Christopher shot Manley, Manley returned fire, and both men were fatally wounded. Well, we know that can't be true, or I wouldn't be here today. And then in another article, it simply states that Christopher had been drinking and he had chased his son and wife from the home. When they returned the next morning, he fired upon Manley, shooting him in the leg. Manley returned fire, shooting him 3 times in the chest. Christopher did pass away 2 to 3 days later. It was ruled as a self-defense, and Manley was not charged. So what's the truth? The first article that I showed you does mention that Christopher was a well-to-do farmer, so maybe he did have gold. Could it have been a squabble over an election? Well, we know how divisive that can be. Or was it a domestic violence situation with a drunken father who turned upon his family? These things we'll never know. Unfortunately, it resulted in the untimely death of my second great-grandfather. In a future video, I would like to focus more on the positive characteristics of Christopher E. But next time, I'm going to revisit the story of the 2 sisters. I have found additional information. If you did not get to see the first video, look for the link in the description. Have you experienced or found something really unexpected? Please drop that in the comments. I would love to hear your story. I appreciate you stopping by, and I hope you return for future videos. Be sure to like and subscribe, and have a great day.